Good morning. Good morning. What a crazy week we have ahead of us. Okay, so I'm just going to hit the high points, namely the big ol' new moon, solar hybrid eclipse in 29 degrees Aries. We'll start there, which is squaring Pluto and really close, 1 degree out of the 3-degree orb being conjunct to Chiron. What does all of that mean? So much. And I'm going to try to keep it brief. So, sip of coffee. What do you think? First of all, we've got Aries. Aries energy is fiery. It wants us to start things. It wants us to pay attention to the I, the me. Where am I going? Who am I? Aries represents the ego, but it's not necessarily egotistical. It doesn't need to be. We have to pay attention to our own identity and what we need and want and where we're going. Sometimes we need to be a little selfish. Sometimes the cycle calls for that we need to be looking at what our needs and wants and desires are, because there's some initiating to do. And if we're worried too much about everybody else's plans and thoughts and beliefs, we may not get our ideas, our purpose off the ground. So it's important to be a little bit selfish right now. That doesn't mean excluding others, being cruel to others. It simply means turning the focus from looking at the exterior and going inward. What do I need? What do I want? So we're right at that 29th degree. It's kind of the end of a cycle. As we know, if you know astrology, there's 30 degrees in a house. So we're at the 29th degree. So we're completing a lot of things. Even though we're in this initiating energy, we're completing a lot of things. And what I think we're completing is outdated stories and outdated ways of thinking, outdated ways of maybe overcommitting to other people's plans or ideas for our lives. We give the permission for them to live in our heads and to steal away our autonomy and the way we approach going after our goals. So we really want to look at, what do I need? What do I need to give up? Cycle is completing. What do I need to give up from these other ideas or plans for my future that have been blocking me? We have that square Pluto. Pluto wants transformation. Pluto looks for death. Pluto represents death. It rules the 8th house, the scorpionic themes of alchemy and release and the phoenix rising from the ashes. It wants to burn away the things that are no longer working for us. Okay, the way we think, our old habits, maybe addictions, maybe toxic relationships, toxic ways of thinking that maybe are holding us back. And these don't have to be big, big traumatic things. It can just be things that have been not serving us. And when there's a square, there's friction around that. It's not always easy to let go of things we know aren't good for us. And we don't have to be perfect. This isn't about making everything perfection before we can move forward. It's just kind of looking at those things that we think have been roadblocks for us and allowing them to go. Now, the 29th degree represents Leo. Now, all the degrees represent energies of different signs, and we won't get into that in this video, but to me, when it says Leo is part of this eclipse, it means center stage, drama. Where am I at the center stage of my world? Am I on stage, or am I watching everyone else be center stage? How can I come into my heart? Leo rules the heart. How can I live from my heart? So we have the Aries initiating energy, we have Leo heart energy, Leo stage, the queen, the king. How are you going to be the king and queen of your life? How are you going to claim your birthright? Like it's your royal decree to claim that birthright. So we have all of that energy going on, but remember that eclipse energy, it's not about getting it all right and achieving and making sure it all happens. It's happening. You don't have to do anything except be aware, right? Just be aware and be open to little synchronicities or little thoughts you're getting, or ideas for your career or for new relationships or things that you've been missing. With Mercury retrograde coming in right on the heels, and we're already in the shadow period of a Mercury retrograde, we're really going to slow down. And I think this continued review process is more important to focus on than the technical communication glitches we always get in a Mercury retrograde. Let's not over focus on that. Let's think about, number one, it's in Taurus. That's a grounded, earthy sign. It wants us to come back to our roots and our grounding and our self-care, our five senses, what brings us fulfillment and joy. What do we value? How do we value ourselves? So for me, I'm thinking about, what do I know? I'm a foodie. I love food. Taurus rules kind of the food scene and feeding ourselves well. So I'm planting my garden. I'm spending more time out in the dirt. And in these next 3 weeks, what a beautiful time to kind of align with Taurus energy of gardening, earthiness, self-care, tenderness and self-compassion towards yourself, and also treating others that way and slowing down. We've been in a lot of Aries fast-moving energy, and that's hard on the nervous system. It's a wonderful energy that we need. I think we need, it's beautiful how it hits in that cycle of spring, right? We need that fiery burst of energy to push the seeds out of the ground, right? Out of the soil and reaching up to the sun. And then after we have that burst and that fiery energy and our nervous systems are all jacked up, and then we get into Taurus. You know, we're moving into the Taurus sun. We're moving into Mercury Taurus. So there's a lot of this sensuality. It's hard to be sensual when you're too sped up. And so it is time to find kind of solace in music and in touch, massage, Reiki, energy healing, going in and settling down and rooting in, taking a beat, taking a pause. And I think that's what Mercury retrograde is trying to tell us. I've already noticed that this Mercury retrograde is a big one for past relationships. You know, we go through a Mercury retrograde 3 to 4 times a year. It's a pretty common thing. 25% of us are born during a Mercury retrograde, myself included. And so this is a time when old projects come back up, old relationships, people from our past may pop in, like a text, an email. You may see them when you're out and about. And you're being asked by the universe, do you want this again? Do you want this project still? Is it something that's worth completing? It's this unfinished project that's come back up into your field in some way. And you have to decide, okay, am I going to complete this? Is this worth it? Or is this one I want to get rid of? And same with relationships. I mean, someone may pop in and want to maybe start a friendship or relationship with you again. Do you want that? Do you know where it's going to lead? Has that person really changed? Have you changed? Do you want to be in that space with a certain person or project again? So we're at choice and review here. So for 3 to 4 weeks, it is a time of life review and thinking about what you want to bring in and what you want to let go of. And that means people too, and your social circle, and how you may want to show up differently in relationship and in the people and projects that you value, right? That's Taurus. Everything's about, what do you value the most? Do you value your sanity? So if someone does not lend to sanity in your life, then you may want to not move forward with that relationship. So this week to me is a lot of review. It's moving forward with new ideas. It's still a new moon, this eclipse. So we're planting the seeds for the next month and beyond. A solar eclipse has so much power to it that those themes continue for months. You know, what's happening right now will continue. And you get to choose how that shows up in your life. So it is initiating new ideas. Write the things down that are coming to your mind, or record them on your phone when you're driving. And just the things you want to kind of see happen in the coming months and come to fruition in your career, relationships, or wherever your focus is. Think about where you want to be and what you want to be planting right now. And then just understanding this month ahead is more about grounding in and is about being at choice, looking at what brings value into your life and what you want to continue to invest your time in. That's including money, and Taurus rules money. So, where do you want to be investing your material goods as well, your resources and your time resources? And kind of looking at how to even schedule time, review how you're spending your time. Time is the most valuable resource we have. And kind of reviewing how we want to prioritize time and use that in our life. So the main focus is new dreams, initiating, review. Pluto comes in wanting you to transform things and put things to death, kill things that are no longer serving, that are no longer of value, and then be in that initiative space as we move forward into Taurus season. And so as we move ahead into this new moon, take that time to meditate if you meditate, journal if you journal, write down some ideas. I always think best when I'm driving and listening to music. I'm so inspired when I'm not sitting at a desk writing things down. When I'm moving, I'm inspired. Dance is really important even through Taurus because it's that movement, sensuality, and our brains work better sometimes when our bodies are engaged. So move and think and dream and see what comes up for you and what you can put into place in your life in the coming months.